For most of us, it feels like our life consists of two main parts. There is work, and then there is preparing for work. For many years, this was my reality, working in a fairly high pressure environment, as I'm sure many people watching this video also do. However, I wanted to maintain a social life, I wanted to still have hobbies, I wanted to make YouTube videos, and I wanted to find time to work out and stay healthy. When I really thought about it, it dawned on me quite clearly that my evenings and my spare time outside of work were rapidly disappearing. And so I've been on a mission recently to make sure that I can fit all these things into my life without burning out and without compromising my performance at work. And so today I wanted to share the top 5 solutions that I found that completely changed the way that I spend my time outside of work, allowing me to still maintain some kind of social life, find time to work out at the gym, and make YouTube videos like this one. Oh, and by the way, if you're new here, my name is Willis. I'm a chartered accountant who also makes YouTube videos on the side about all things money, personal finance, and personal development. Let's jump into it. Solution number 1 is to change your default destination. When you come home from work, where do you go? If you find yourself sitting on the sofa or lying in bed, then this could be killing your productivity. For me personally, I find when I get home and I do such things such as sitting on the sofa or lying in bed, I often find that it's very difficult for me to muster up the energy to get up again and do something productive, and so I end up lying or sitting there scrolling on social media and not really achieving anything. One way you could potentially combat this is, let's say you want to exercise in the gym after work. Well, could you lay out your gym clothes or your running shoes or whatever it may be on your sofa or your bed where you normally end up going when you first get home? And instead, seeing your gym clothes or your running shoes could encourage you to actually get changed and head out for a run or head to the gym, rather than just lying in bed or on the sofa after work. This has been a game changer for me because you're not allowing your body to get into that relaxation mode. Your body still knows that the day is continuing, you've still got things to do, and it's not quite time just to switch off and get ready for bed just yet. And what is important to remember is that once your body is in relaxation mode, once you've finished work and it thinks all the tasks for the day are done, it's very hard to get out of that state and muster up the energy to go out and work out or do something productive again. Another idea is to actually just take your gym bag to work with you, and therefore you can stop off at the gym on the way home, and then you know that you're going to get your workout in before you even get home. And this makes it so much easier to muster up the energy to actually do your workout, because you're not getting home and then having to re-muster up that energy to get out and go out and do something productive again. Or let's say you're trying to study for an important exam. Could you take your study materials with you to work and then go to the library on the way home, or even maybe stay in the office where you work and study into the evening? What this will allow you to do is to get that study time in before you actually go home and allow yourself to get distracted. Now, of course, you may need to pack dinner with you as well as your lunch, but that's okay. I think it's worth it. Once you get into this cycle and get momentum going and you're doing these things on a regular basis, you'll feel so much better about life. And the momentum will just simply keep you going because you won't want to fall back into your old ways. And so this actually makes sticking to your new routine so much easier as well. It's all about getting that momentum. Solution number 2 is to break the action-mood connection. One of the key solutions that I found to not wasting your evenings is to break the connection between your actions and your mood. For most people, their actions are 100% dictated by the mood that they're currently in. And this has been the case for me in the past too. You know, if I had a bad day, maybe I'd spend the evening scrolling on social media or watching YouTube and put off things that I should be doing and say, well, let's just do it tomorrow instead because I don't feel like it right now. If you're tired, you say, I can't do that now, and you'd rather relax instead. And now, of course, I appreciate there are times where you are genuinely exhausted and you do need to just take a break from everything and just let your body completely relax. And that's great, and we'll get onto that later. However, when we are still trying to be productive after work, we do need to try and separate the mood from the action. So how do we do this? Well, we need to think about, can we rewrite the lines in our mind where we're saying, I can't do that right now because I'm tired? Can we instead say, well, I'm tired right now, but I'm just going to do it anyway and rest when I'm finished, or rest on the weekend? I mean, I'm sure you've done this so many times in your own life already. I mean, think about it, right? How many times have you gone to work when you're tired to go and work for somebody else because you feel that that's something that you need to do in order to get paid, to put food on the table, a roof over your head, etc. Or maybe one time you mustered up the energy to go to the gym after work because you thought you really needed to. And so maybe we can sort of flip the switch in our minds and say, these are the things I should be doing, these are the things I want to be doing in the evenings, but you don't feel like you have the energy to. Rather than saying you should do those things, can you change those to a must? And so you absolutely have to do those things because they are so important to you and they are as important as going to work is. And so this is really all about saying, okay, I know I'm tired now, but I need to get my exercise in, or I need to work on this project, or I need to read this book or study this course. Having the ability to then shut out how you actually feel and just do the action anyway can be very powerful. Solution number 3 is to batch all of your admin tasks on one day. So how much time do you think you spend doing admin tasks or chores after work on an evening by evening basis? The answer is probably more than you think, and for me the key one was always cooking. Because if you cook every single night after work, this takes up so much time. I mean, now this obviously depends what you're cooking, but if you think about it, you've got to prep the food, cook the food, eat the food, and then clean up afterwards. And that can easily take an hour and a half or more every single night. That's an hour and a half that you could be spending in the gym. That's an hour and a half that you could be spending to read 20, 30 or 40 pages of your favourite book. Or that's an hour and a half where you could write an entire script to a YouTube video or spend studying for an important exam coming up. And so the key chore that I like to batch is meal prepping. For me, I like to batch cook and meal prep on a Sunday afternoon and a Wednesday afternoon to make sure the food's sort of as fresh as possible. And what I found is that this saves so much time during the week because every time you get home from work, you're literally just pulling out your box from the fridge or maybe the freezer and putting it in the microwave or in the oven on the stove, however you choose to warm up your food. But then your food is warmed up and ready to go after a few minutes. And then the cleaning aspect afterwards is also minimal because you're really only cleaning one container and a bit of cutlery, right? And the same can go for cleaning the house. Can you do it all in one go? Or ironing your clothes or doing your laundry? Can you do it all in one go on one weekday so you're not having to do it periodically throughout the week, eating into your free time after work every day? And the key thing here is if we batch everything onto one day, then we can use the other days after work to focus on things that are more important to us, like maybe you're trying to start a business or work out in the gym on a regular basis. These are things that we would consider to be a bit more important than cooking or cleaning, and so we can really focus on those on the other days. Solution number 4 is to treat your evening like a new day. I recently read that Winston Churchill, of course the Prime Minister of England during World War II, used to take a nap at lunchtime. And the reason why he did this was because he wanted to have, quote, 2 mornings. And this is because he was more productive in the morning than he was in the afternoon or evenings. And I think we can apply something similar. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily have to take a nap as soon as you get home from work and therefore you'll be all bright and ready to go for the evening. But what we can do is just change the way in our mind how we see our days. We can split our days maybe into 3 parts instead. You've got the morning before work, you've got the work time throughout the bulk of the day, and then you've got the evening after work. So let's say you sleep from, say, 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. So that's a good 8 hours. You could then have, say, 2 hours in the morning to yourself from, say, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then you've got your work from, say, around 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or between those hours at some point. And then you've got your evening of 6 p.m. until, say, around 10 p.m. So splitting the day up into different chunks like this, we can allocate certain hours of the day to certain different tasks or certain different aspects of our lives. So we could say the first 2 hours of the day, from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m, could be for exercising, working out, or reading, whatever we choose. Then the next 10 hours is all dedicated to work, so getting ready for work, commuting, doing the work itself, and then getting home as well. And then the final 4 hours of the day, from around 6 p.m. to 10 p.m, let's say that's around your bedtime, could be used for family time, creating experiences, working on a business, or even moving the exercise from the morning into the evening instead if that's what you prefer. Now, of course, it's easy to kind of write off the evening as being the end of the day and we've done our work for the day, therefore we're just going to relax in the evening. However, you've got 3 or 4 hours here that you can actually use to be productive and to get something done. And you'd be surprised at how much you can actually do in 3 or 4 hours. For me, I could write and record an entire YouTube video during that time. I could edit more than half of a YouTube video in that time. You could go to the gym and then meal prep when you get home afterwards. In 3 or 4 hours, you could read the majority of a new book. So rather than just residing the evening to be the end of the day or a time where you just binge Netflix or scroll on social media, maybe we can use it for something else, more productive, and think about it in our mind as like a new day. If these 4 hours were a day, and we wanted to achieve something throughout that day, what would we assign to that day? What would we like to achieve? Solution number 5 is to go to bed earlier and prioritise self-care. This is a little bit of a different one here because I know we're talking about the evenings and how to maximise our evening time to be productive. But recently, I did a bit of an audit of how I'm spending my time after, say, 8 or 9 p.m. in the evening. And what I found was that most of that time was probably going towards scrolling on social media or less productive activities because it is the end of the day and my mind and body is physically tired. And then on top of that, I recently read that the most successful people, at least in business or financially, have a habit of going to bed earlier and getting up earlier in the morning because that's their most productive time. And there's a great quote here by Jim Rohn, the legendary motivational speaker. And he said, "Early to bed, early to rise makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise." And so off the back of this, I just decided to completely cut the useless time in the evening that I was just wasting, go to bed 1.5 to 2 hours earlier, and then get up 1.5 to 2 hours earlier as well. What this allowed me to do was to take back some of my most creative time in the morning before I go and work for somebody else, to work on what I think is important to me. So for this new time that I have, I'm spending designing thumbnails for YouTube videos, writing YouTube videos, reading my favourite books, or working out in the gym, and developing myself as a person before I then go and work for somebody else. And this is essentially what's allowed me to be fairly consistent with this YouTube channel and get videos out every single week, because it's that morning time on weekdays that I'm using to write and edit videos and then design thumbnails as well. Now for me personally, the morning is the most creative and productive time of day. However, I do understand that there are a lot of people out there who maybe don't consider themselves to be morning people. And although I think anybody can be a morning person, I understand that if that's not your preferred time, you can do it in the evening as well. And so I'll encourage just experimenting between morning and evening. Which one works best for you? Which one are you getting most done? Which one are you more productive and creative? And then focus your efforts on protecting that period of time for working on your own personal interests and developing yourself as a person, or building your business, or whatever it is that you want to do, and then building that into your routine on a daily basis. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I know you love this one, but don't go just yet. Please make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you over there. Bye.